Evaluation question 1. In what ways does your media product use, develop, or challenge forms and conventions of real media products? When I started my media coursework, I began by doing research to learn the forms and conventions of real media products, which in this case were music magazines. I did my research by evaluating the covers and insides of 3 music magazines. The magazines that I chose were Kerrang, NME and Q. These magazines may not have been directly related to my particular genre of music, but I struggled to find any electronic music magazines on sale. However, these magazines did give me an understanding of the key features within a music magazine and what features I needed to include in my own magazine. With a good understanding of evaluation from these magazines, I am ready to evaluate my finished designs. The first thing to consider evaluating is my title. My titles of the reviewed magazines varied and had different meanings behind them. NME were the initials for a relevant title, and Kerrang is an onomatopoeic word that sounds like a guitar riff. With that in mind, I chose various different titles for my music magazine, and I put together a tally sheet and asked various other students which was the best title. The highest voted name was Surge, which is in relation to electronic music and an electrical surge. Font. After choosing the name, I then moved on to font styles that I wanted to use. To do this, I used a website called Dafont that had various different font styles for the user to download. To attempt to follow my genre of electronic music, I wanted a bold and slightly futuristic font. Under the sci-fi section, I found a font called Ethnocentric that fitted my criteria, so that was the font I decided to use and is shown on the screen. Genre. The genre that I chose for my music magazine was electronic music, and throughout my magazine pages I've tried to make this theme prominent. I did this through the modern and futuristic font, and I also attempted to do this with the images that I used and the design and layout of my pages. Firstly, I'm going to look at the design and layout of my various pages, starting with my front page. I decided to use a similar idea to Q for my front cover, as I wanted the rest of the features to be wrapped around the main image. The title and masthead were placed on the right to keep out of the way of the image. I decided not to centre my masthead and title because I think this would leave too much space on either side. I included a banner in the masthead, as this helped make the title more obvious and stand out at the top of the page. I also included it to follow my colour scheme of black and white and my house style, as banners are included on all the pages. On the left of my image, I included a barcode to make the front cover seem real and professional. Below the barcode is a similar feature to the front cover of Q magazine, which is a list of artists included inside the magazine, and it's positioned in a similar place to Q. At the bottom of my front page, I have included images relating to other articles that I could have featured in the magazine. This design may not be completely conventional to the magazine that I researched, but I wanted a unique design that focused on the main image instead of having it covered by text and cover lines. My contents page doesn't follow a traditional convention of contents pages with 3 separate columns. Instead, I decided to use a similar design to that in Q, where as opposed to columns, each of the different stories and segments are different sizes due to an uneven arrangement of grid lines. This design is slightly unusual, but is a modern and unique design that I think suits my genre of my magazine. My original design had conventional columns, but I believe it looked too basic and simple, so I went with this second design. I also think that this design better suits the house style and colour scheme that I set in my front page. My double page spread is the final page that I created, and this page in a conventional way with a column design. But I also included conventional features like a pull quote, and I also used drop capitals at the starts of some of the paragraphs. Other ways that my double page spread follows conventions is through the continuity of the house style and the colour scheme that follows on from my front page and contents page. As the pages of a music magazine, my front page, contents page and double page spread have a lot of text in them, and I've tried to fit the text in convention on my front page using minimal text with the title as well as picture captions and a list of artists featured in the magazine. The longest piece of text on the front cover is the cover lines, which explains the main image and doesn't defy convention. With my contents page, I use similar design to Q Magazine, but however Q Magazine used a lot of text explaining each article. I decided to make the text on my contents page more conventional, splitting the text up into lists and captioning the pictures. I also believe that the written content on my double page spread follows conventions, as it is an interview. I took two different sets of images for my magazine pages. The first images were those associated with my double page spread article, and the second set of images are ones I used on my front cover and double page and contents page. For my double page spread related photos, I was trying to reenact a real photo shoot, so although the model does do poses and is positioned in the photos, I made sure she was always facing the camera. For these photos, the model is wearing a plain jumper with rolled up sleeves, which is just casual clothing that suits the genre. However, I also made her wear a beanie, an item of clothing unique to the teenage market that fits my target audience. Also made her wear headphones, an accessory that DJs often wear. In terms of props, I also made the model hold some records, as DJs use these on mixing decks. I decided to do these photographs in this style after looking through various photographs throughout the magazines I researched. With the second set of images, I only used 3 images. 2 of these were of the DJ using his laptop, and the other 2 were the other image was various pieces of sound equipment. As these images were supposed to seem live action, I didn't have the model look towards the camera. I chose to do the photos in this way, as I saw most of the live action photos in the magazines I've researched styled in this way. The models I chose were my sister and one of the DJs at a local club. I chose these two as I thought in the right surrounding with the right costumes they would look the part. Personally, I think my models are fairly good and they carry out the roles the image